the last time we saw like $500 million day, we saw some pretty good signs from the market. But what we want to see is this momentum continue to keep up. I think BlackRock was bidding pretty hard into the back end of last week. So is Fidelity. So these are, I think, positive tailwinds for me.
From a shares or equities point of view, things are hitting all-time highs. I think the Nasdaq's at an all-time high, so massive things happening there. I think gold just increased by like something like $3 trillion in market cap over the last couple of months. So gold's doing massive things.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Tapping Into Crypto. I've got a special edition, the remote, little COVID throwback, Ted. What do you reckon?
Yeah, what's going on? Why aren't you in the office, Pav?
Well, potentially infectious. We've had some pretty rampant things going around the household with the kids. It's not their fault. It's just the way things are. Feeling a bit dusty too. Not because of the Lions' victory. I just want to clarify that. But hey, what a game.
Yeah, absolute ripper. I think everyone in Brisbane still sort of dusting themselves off from a massive victory and weekend where the Lions.
What's going on, mate? You don't sound very excited.
What's that?
You don't sound very excited.
Well, mate, like I said, still dusting myself off. It's been over 20 years. Unfortunately, neither of us were able to get down to Melbourne. I was eyeing off some tickets at the MCG at one stage, but they are notoriously hard to get your hands on. So just watched it in Brizzy. But yeah, fantastic win for the Brizzy Lions.
Let's chat markets. Obviously, some interesting things turning over. Start of a new month, new quarter. Obviously, we've got a lot we've been talking about that we've been looking forward to this particular time of year. But where do we start, Ted? What do we do?
Well, look, man, I think an important thing to call out is a lot of people have been looking forward to, Q4. It typically is, a strong performing quarter, particularly in those halving years, which we're in now. But no one, I'm not really sure anyone anticipated the great month we had in September. Like, I think that's the best performance of September we've had since 2012. Yeah. Which is, before any of us even knew what crypto was or what Bitcoin was. So, I think all signs lead to a positive Q4. Obviously, there's still like some lingering concerns around like geopolitical conflicts in the Middle East and what's happening there. Like there's still that could impact markets. It always could. Yep. So you've got to keep that in mind. Also, we've got the election coming up. Crypto's played a pretty major role in that. So that could shake things up. But all things considered, I think I'm pretty confident going into Q4 that we're looking good, and notoriously the Uptober, as we like to call it, is looking good as well. So yeah, what do you reckon, Pav?
Yeah, agree. Like I knew we all sort of expected a sell-off in September, and we saw absolutely bloodshed at the start of September. And I guess it's easy to look at it now to understand, but obviously maybe the market was front running a lot of that selling activity at the start of this month. It was like holiday season for the Northern Hemisphere, and a lot of the market liquidity that drives prices, it is all in the Northern Hemisphere. So, I mean, that all sort of ties and plays into the price of crypto assets moving forward, and always has, always will. But I think what sums it up nicely for me at the moment is the flows that we're seeing from the Bitcoin ETFs. So I know we looked at this quite extensively during the last little run-up we had at the start of this year, but we're back to pretty bumper days. So looking at the 27th of September, so looking at last week's flows here, we're still waiting on Monday's overnight flows as we're recording on a Tuesday today. But I mean, the last time we saw like almost a $500 million day, I think we saw some pretty good signs from the market, if memory serves me correctly. But what we want to see is this momentum continue to keep up. I mean, I think BlackRock was bidding pretty hard into the back end of last week. So is Fidelity. So these are, I think, positive tailwinds for me, from at least the guys that have the biggest purses. They're just adding to their longer-term strategic holdings of Bitcoin, which is good. It's what we want to see this time of year. And then just to point to what you sort of mentioned as well, Q4 historically is the better period where we have seen growth. So that's what we're looking to hopefully see again. Turning to a chart of Bitcoin, this is something that we've been tracking since August, this current range that we've been trading in. We talked about this deviation to the upside, we expected downside, then reclaiming in early September, we were looking to move towards these highs. And now we're just setting up for the next decision, in my opinion. Like there's nothing stopping us coming down a little bit further. I've identified for me personally $60,000, $60,500 as the next key level, being the last low before we broke higher. They're kind of levels that I tend to look for a reaction. But having the monthly close just come in right now looks pretty tantalizing. We have done a pretty amazing sweep of these previous month lows, and we've closed green for this current month. So the stage is set now, in my opinion, for the market to do its work, show us what it wants to do, where it wants to go into these next 1 to 2 weeks, where it might just take a little while for the market to work itself out, or we could go higher from here. Like, it's really hard to say what happens in the short term, but heading into the back end of October, I think we should see a material trend hopefully have developed by that stage. In terms of news, what to watch out for this week, we have jobs data, I think, coming out in the US on the Friday. Yep, we sure do. 4.2%. So there's actually a very interesting comment made by a Fed member, which I wish I pulled up for the show, but essentially it just went to advocate for, if they see further deterioration in the labor market, it might be the next call to arms for further stimulus or solidify the need for further rate cutting, which we saw, think what you want about rate cuts and what it means for the markets. We already saw one rate cut, and we saw how explosive of a move it caused in the markets. So, all of our opinions don't matter when the market does what it does on a news release. So again, if they're looking to reduce rates again with the 2 remaining meetings, I think we should expect, or at least anticipate, a similar thing that we saw most recently. So, a further upside in the market, and that kind of lines up nicely with our Q4 outlook as well. So long story short, I think I just want to finally finish up with this particular chart that we have curated and been following again for a few months now. 4 weeks ago, we talked about how total 3, so this is the total market cap of the altcoin market, looked like it could have been bottoming out back here at the start of September. We've now seen it push up away nicely and put in, for me, a structurally higher high. So that's good. An uptrend is simply higher highs and higher lows. So now that we've seen that higher high, we just want to see the market hold that momentum and continue to push higher. And this could be, again, like we sort of said, we're pushing away. We're starting to move towards hopefully that next markup phase, hopefully similar to what we saw here at the start of 2024. For altcoins, reaching that $1 trillion market cap, I think will be something pretty pivotal, pretty important. You can see here I've got a nice little alarm here lined up for when we do reach that spot. It says steady, lads. All things, I guess, are pointing in the right direction. Even on the macro landscape, you look at China, they're starting to stimulate their economy, and their stock market's going crazy. They had to halt trading because there was too much advancement in price as well. Pretty interesting stuff. It's all looking pretty good, mate.
And from a shares or equities point of view, things are hitting all-time highs. I think the Nasdaq's at an all-time high, so massive things happening there. I think gold just increased by something like $3 trillion in market cap over the last couple of months. So gold's doing massive things, and this is what we typically see how these cycles go. It usually goes the likes of gold, those more risk-off assets, and then the share market will typically have a run, and before crypto, where those real risk-on sort of players get into the market. So all things are pointing in the right direction. I just want to point out, you had the ETF flows up there before. Can we look at the ETF flows quickly? Because, I think they're looking a little bit more positive than previously, but probably the majority at this stage is still in the red. We had a $79 million sell-off day a couple of days ago. But it looks like they're starting to trend in the other direction now that Grayscale continues to sell off. So I think it's only a matter of time before that curve starts to flatten out. We start to see some regular inflows into those products.
I think momentum here in Ethereum will kind of show the risk appetite for crypto in the TradFi space really start to materialize. It'll be, we all talk about trends. Like, trends is essentially where I guess a lot of us, grow our wealth. If we start to see a trend start to brew here, look out. I think it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, love it.
All right, so should we talk top movers?
Let's talk top movers. Look, another green week for the most part. Pav, you weren't conservative with the tipping competition again, and it hasn't paid off. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But look, we kind of called it last week that we thought meme coins would have the next move out of an altcoin narrative, or at least I called that out. So I'll just give myself a little shout out there. But yeah, top movers this week, the likes of Bonk, Dog with Hat, and Pepe. So the Solana and ETH meme coins having a real big run there. Also Shib. Shib got a little bit of limelight as well. And then, yeah, I guess Sui and Say, they're kind of linked as those new tech layer ones that they've had really strong performance. Sui's one we've been touching on recently. I want to shout out a little anecdote from Ben Simpson, who attended the Token 2049 conference in Singapore this year. He said that he went and Sui had by far the best after party. They basically booked out the biggest club in Singapore, a 3-story club, and had Steve Aoki there DJing, and he just said it was really bullish for Sui. Obviously, that has nothing to do with its fundamentals or adoption. Yeah, but I like to see that from projects I'm invested in. So, what can you say?
Not much, mate. That's good, but it's good to see. I think strip that back. It's still like building a community, supporting the community, engaging with the community. Like, it is what it is. You can strip it as many ways as you want, but at least they're doing something, right? So it's good to see. I mean, from my perspective, obviously very heavily meme coins focused. Top 100. That's not bad to me. I think I've sort of vocalized in the past that then that's just what we see this time of the cycle, especially in the past as well. Probably not to this effect. We didn't ever have this many meme coins previously, but seeing these infrastructure tokens still continue to perform. The only other one that had been quite busy but has slowed down a bit, Tau, so the AI narrative. So I think I would maybe personally be looking to see other AI narrative assets and how they perform in the coming week or two. So I think in the past, Render's been a top performer. Be keeping an eye on that, as well as Fetch, which has also been a top performer too. But interestingly, ENA there in the top movers. Haven't seen that one for quite some time. A newer DeFi project, and not really too much else to call out there, in my opinion.
I was just on what I was talking to Ben Simpson about. He mentioned that the biggest narrative that he saw from the Token 2049 conference was the AI narrative. So he said Tau is getting a lot of attention there. So maybe one to watch out for in the future. I think it doesn't paint the full picture, obviously, but it just goes to show you, like, people who are attending these conferences are typically, very enthusiastic. So the fact that, they're going out and showcasing themselves as a big project at these places, and people are interacting with them, showing excitement for them is just something to keep in mind.
No, I agree.
And then lastly, sorry to cut you off there, Pav, just wanted to call out that Jupiter is one of the top movers as well. So Jupiter's their token. We didn't touch on this last week. I know we covered the Solana Breakpoint conference a little bit, but Jupe actually had a fairly large announcement there, where they shared their upcoming mobile trading app. Cool. Which is promising zero fees and a convenient sign-up options, and also a meme coin launcher called Ape Pro 2. So they're really going down the meme coin route. So yeah, they're really going down the meme coin route. They understand, like, there's a lot of demand for meme coin trading, and so they're going to focus on that with their new mobile trading app. So which is really good to see. These conferences and these events that altcoins or the crypto industry hold, they're often a good place to look at when things are making announcements or things are happening. So just to call out, Ripple's having their Ripple Swell event later this month, and other events happening in October: the Avalanche Summit, Cosmoverse, Cardano Summit, SmartCon, which is Chainlink's conference, and then the Ethereum DevCon is also happening in November. So keep an eye on them. Typically, these projects will save some pretty large announcements for these events. So we'll try to make sure to keep you guys updated on those, but also do your own research, of course.
As always. But let's duck into some news. What do you got for us, Ted?
Look, I thought this was a pretty interesting one. Obviously, Visa is one we've covered a lot. They are really doubling down and focusing on, crypto, blockchain technology as sort of a pillar or what would you call it, silo of their business moving forward. They're obviously massive, but they're really focusing in on that. So in this story, Visa has developed a new product to help banks issue fiat-backed tokens on the Ethereum network, so a bit of an Ethereum adoption play there. So they're going to enable the development of fiat-backed tokens powered by smart contracts. And this is interesting because just recently I think it was at the Australian Financial Review Crypto Summit, Combank had a representative who was speaking about how they've been dabbling in stablecoins to manage large international transfers. And so I'm just seeing a little bit of a narrative play out between large sort of TradFi institutions and banks and things like that. They really seem to be honing in on the stablecoin aspect of blockchain and crypto as a way to facilitate cross-border transfers and really speed up that process and make it more efficient. And I think Visa's new venture into this tokenization platform really just underlines that as well.
We've got some news about a more recent airdrop.
Well, Pav, you can probably speak to this a little bit better than I can, as you were directly impacted by this.
Yeah, so there was I think we shouted out on the podcast, I want to say a month and a half ago, if not a bit longer. There was a Telegram game that was called Hamster CEO.
Hamster Combat.
Hamster Combat, no, but you were a hamster CEO. It essentially was like a tap-to-play type of style game where you basically earn money for running an exchange as a hamster CEO, and it was basically just a game within the Telegram ecosystem, the Ton network as we know it as now. So if you obviously participated in the game, there was a airdrop issued. So go check that out if you haven't already. I myself netted a whopping $6.95 worth of airdrop tokens. But look, I know there's been a lot of criticism on I guess how this one's played out. Such as like unfair reward distributions and then just sudden rule changes. But I mean, I don't know. I've always had a bit of a weird take for these style of airdrops. It's previous airdrops that I've been part of, it's been more based upon actually providing something to an ecosystem, whereas this case you were just playing a game. So for an example, in DeFi land, you might lend assets to the protocol so they can then return a yield for you and provide a lending services for other people. Or you might be on some sort of trading platform, decentralized trading platform, and you earn an airdrop based upon the volume that you did, etc. Jupiter, again, shout out to that one. That was a massive airdrop at the start of this year, end of last year. Can't even remember, it's been so long. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to take away from this, other than probably expect it to happen again, especially a whole bunch of people getting disqualified. I think they were suspecting that for gamifying the system. So, I mean, these projects are always going to do what they can to not destroy the distribution of their tokens. Yeah, for me, it's still a big win because it showed to me that there was a whole bunch of people out there that if there is an incentive, we're keen to play a game within their Telegram app on their mobile phone. I think that says a lot about the future of the gaming mobile industry.
Yeah.
Well.
Sorry, I know from my perspective, I was seeing a lot of people in the Swyftx office tapping away on their phone, trying to earn more hamster points or whatever they were. I know Corey, one of our colleagues, was on it pretty frequently, and he'd earned millions and millions of these points in the hope that he'd get like a pretty sizable airdrop. I think he only got about $10, so I think he was a little bit disappointed with that. So yeah, maybe that's part of the criticism as well. But look, that's typically what, they don't have. You can't just give away, hundreds or even thousands of dollars to everyone who participates in this. So I guess that's not too unexpected from that. But they did launch on the likes of Swyftx and Binance and some major exchanges. I'm talking about the hamster token, and I think a lot of people just sold off because looking at the token price, it went from about 800, 900 million in market cap to about 500. Which typically does happen in these airdrop scenarios because people typically just get their allocation and then decide to sell it off straight away. So you usually see this sort of period of consolidation or period of downward price movement before things really start to before people start to really buy it up again. So yeah, just something to keep in mind on that front as well.
Nice, mate. Other than that, I think we can wrap it up with the tipping comp. So obviously I played it conservative again. doesn't seem to be working for me. Just trying to catch you off guard in case the market were to fall 5%. But so I finished up $10,150, just basically a portfolio of stablecoins and Bitcoin.
Nice.
But how did
Still
you
in the
go?
green?
Still in the green, yeah.
Still in the green. Yeah, look, I did very well, not going to lie. WIF pretty much carried my entire portfolio this week. So WIF, as we mentioned, was one of the top movers. I think it's up about 40% in the last 7 days. So that carried me to overall 11,500 or just about. I also had AIOZ and HNT, just trying to capture that AI narrative. They were both up a couple of percent this week, but WIF was really doing most of the grunt work there. Looking forward to next week. Look, I'm a little bit on the fence about what's going to happen this week. So I've actually taken a little bit more of a conservative approach, not as much as you would, Pav, but I've gone for BTC and Sol, two assets I hold naturally in my regular portfolio, and then also I've got IMX in there, and that's purely from the perspective that Beam and Ronin, so IMX's biggest sort of gaming competitors, gaming chains, they both are up, between 5 and 15%. Within the last 7 days, whereas IMX was down about 5%. So I just think it's lagging behind a little bit and is due to have a strong week should the rest of the altcoin market have a strong week. Obviously, these things typically move together.
Yeah, no, good shout. I'm going the opposite of what I have for the last 2 weeks because I don't know what I was thinking. Probably going to regret it, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think what I'm seeing so far is the market is accepting support and buying it up. So far we've seen early this week. So I'm committing to some stronger performers that I've been tracking for the last 1 to 2 weeks. So Tia and Bonk. I think where we have seen strength in the last couple of weeks, I'll be anticipating to see them catch a bit more of the earlier volatility. So want to try and get one up on you after 2 weeks of playing it safe. So they're my tips for this week.
Mate, welcome back.
I'm back.
Welcome back. That's all I can say. It's glad to have you back and enjoying yourself, Pav.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week, as always. Hopefully, back in the flesh. It's a little bit weird doing it like this in Zoom. Got not used to it, but thanks very much for listening. Check us out on YouTube, as always, to come check out the charts and content that we're sharing. But thanks again, guys, and see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.